on to last episode of Dragon's Ball Pay.
Issue 212. It's pretty much done. But after this, we get to my favorite arc.
Wait! What the?
The king himself, who is mad, wants a Chaos Emerald for himself. They think it'd be better if the king had a Chaos Emerald. So Stinky, or John, and Sonic go to this weird alternate universe where you're supposed the special zones in the game shoot Sonic in the back so that he can get the emerald, and the panda gets bored and sends him back. To which he comes back to the place and is like, oh, you know, they shot me in the back and I have no idea what his plan is. But turns out that the badger, or the skunk, my bad, was working with Naugus the whole time, the wizard from earlier.
Oh, what a twist.
And he also is a wizard himself.
What a twist.
And has been doing this for quite a while. He's been a wizard the whole time. Brings Naugus back and basically says, technically, due to the contract of the king being out of commission, but then when he was in commission in the different universe, the king swore his allegiance to the wizard. So that means that the wizard is in charge because of something they did in a different universe, which I don't know how that makes sense. Because of the controversy with the nanomachine's son, nobody trusts Nicole or anybody who's a robot anymore, so there's robot racism. And the country's kind of divided in two between, yeah, this was mind control, and it, like, you know, yeah, it could be bad, but it also could be way worse, to Nicole is basically the NSA, and I don't stand for it. However, there's a concert that goes on where this alternative rock band plays.
Other than that, you guys really suck.
Yeah! Like you! 3, 2, 1!
You wanna fight?
Then we get to Silver, but his whole thing is that there's a traitor amongst you. There's a traitor. Silver shows up and is like, have you ever heard of the hit game Among Us? I want to kill myself after saying that. Is convinced that there is a traitor, and every time he comes back, he just randomly picks fights with someone, and he's like, okay, it's Sonic. Sonic's the traitor because he's powerful. Well, I was wrong. This guy's the traitor because he's powerful. Well, I was wrong. Antoine's obviously the traitor. Eggman has got himself a Chaos Emerald, and he is planning on resetting the entire Earth. The egg thing has come back, and they all decide that, oh, well, we should probably stop the egg thing and, you know, save everyone. Eggman fires off a Genesis wave, which, being, you know, Genesis, Sega Genesis, it's basically the video games, only with the characters in it now. So the Freedom Fighters exist, but they exist in a game context, and over time they slowly start remembering things like, oh, this was not how it was supposed to go. Sonic goes super, defeats the Death Egg, or the Death Egg robot, and then he sends everybody back to the original universe. So he finally gets an extra 15 seconds to save Sally from getting shot to death, which is always nice. And then they find out that Eggman, after pressing the button and realizing that that didn't work, he reveals his other plan. His plan wasn't just to take everyone back to the Dark Ages and start over again. His plan was to make the world simpler and make the Freedom Fighters smaller so that they couldn't do anything about him roboticizing the world. Basically means he can turn a roboticizer into a laser and just shoot everybody, and everybody's a machine, and everybody works for him, and it's his perfect Tolkien-esque apocalypse. This doesn't happen because Sally takes the Nicole thing and is hiding in the wires and is like, oh, I could just redirect the blast towards me and it'll blow up the Death Egg and we'll probably die, but it won't shoot the Earth, so that'll be cool. So she ends up redirecting the blast and it shoots her and everything blows up, and it doesn't kill Eggman or Sonic, but she gets turned into a robot. This is where the fun begins, and it's so lit because much like Mecha Sonic from way back when, she can just destroy everything. And because, you know, it's their friend, they don't want to, you know, do anything too brash. They realize that everything is pretty screwed up because Naugus has now won the approval of the people because there was a ginormous Metal Sonic that just got dropped on the city, and he decides, oh, I'll just shoot it with my big laser thing. Oh, I can fix that, no problem. Magic, boom, I can perform miracles. Everybody's just been taking fat L's recently, And another fat L is about to come with the bird armada from the very beginning of the story arc comes back and is like, hey, under this city, there's our old city, because we're like aliens and stuff. So we're going to just blow an entire hole through the city. They do that, Antoine gets blown the up. It is... and the rabbit is no longer a robot, which means he is borderline useless. All of this happens, and Silver comes back. What does Silver do? He says, I know who the traitor is. I know who the imposter is. It's the guy that just blew up. To which Sonic grabs him by the head, throws him out the window, drags him across the yard into the hospital bed, and is like, look, it doesn't work. It doesn't check out. Freedom Fighters are done, and they split off into two teams. There's Team Freedom, and there's Team Fighters. Then there's something called the Secret Freedom Fighters, which Elias, who has been recently dethroned, gets together a group of Shard, who is the Metal Sonic from way back in Sonic Adventure times, where he gets repurposed as a good robot because of a gym. He's a good boy. Two wolves, Lynx that has just got bad luck everywhere. Bad luck. And all of the pieces start lining up to a final showdown. This is when the split happens. What it ends up doing is starting a crossover event with Mega Man that I literally can't be bothered to read. I was so disappointed. I only read it so I can get it over with, so that way I can start reading the rest of the story arc that they had set up and save Sally, get everyone out of there, go back home, fix the kingdom, all that good stuff, and fight Eggman for one last time. Well, that doesn't happen because the world resets and we get to the post-Genesis wave.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Ian Flynn is in complete control of the story at this time, and these new stories aren't bad. It's just incredibly underwhelming. Think of a series that has been canceled and was revived. Think of a series that's like not like, you know, goofy or something. Like there's story arcs to it and all that. Well, now I want you to think of something like Firefly. Firefly, from what I've heard, ended on a cliffhanger. It ended up getting a movie that kind of wrapped things up in a nice little bow. Now imagine if there are any Firefly fans, what would have happened if the movie came out and basically said, oh, by the way, all these plot elements, these cliffhangers, they don't exist anymore. Why? Because of legal reasons. That's what happened to the series. Before they, you know, get killed by her, the white light of creation shows up and the whole Mega Man thing happens. And at the end of the Mega Man thing, I thought, okay, cool, it's going to get back to, you know, the thing. We're going to have to restart the world and, you know, what's going to happen this time. Well, it turns out we've ended up on a completely new world because of lawsuits. Jeffrey doesn't exist anymore. Nagus is just in charge because he overthrew the king like a cartoon villain. Nicole is completely aware of all of this stuff, and Nicole is being captured. At this point when I was reading this, my mood slowly started to sour because I knew it was a soft reboot. But they had callbacks to whenever they like touched Nicole, they were like, oh, all this stuff happened. I remember being a robot. I remember destroying everything. Why did this happen? This is disturbing. And this is one of the lamest things to happen in storytelling. And I know people like those, and I don't want to shit all over them because they're not bad. It's just not as good as it could have been. One of the things that this lawsuit entailed is what I like to call, this lawsuit is what I would like to call the final beginning of Ken Penders. Sega, in response to losing this lawsuit, told Archie, you have to follow these guidelines now. The stories have to be contained within the Sonic game universe. They can't take place anywhere else. Sonic can't die. None of the characters can die, I don't think. And no heavy emotion. What that means is you can't have stakes anymore.
It's crazy.
apparently. You can have stakes like the world being blown up, but the characters won't react to it other than like, oh, I guess we're gonna stop Baldy McNosehair. Congratulations, Sega. You have put in constituents to make your comics actually worse. Legally, they cannot be good. I think the writing was on the wall with this. They lost their, license with Archie, and they just decided, why don't we just move to IDW? Which I've heard good things about, but in the most childish way, I don't read it because it's not the same.
Coming back. Super Knuckle, Knuckle, Bill, Buckle, Banana, Truffle in it. I'm back in the saddle again. I'm back in the saddle again.
Sonic fans are very resilient. We've kind of had to make our own crap for a while, Sonic Mania, but it's a game made by fans. Interestingly enough, the Knuckles tribe has come back. The Echidnas are, in fact, in the movie with like some actual lore around the Master Emerald and all that stuff. And, I've heard from some people that the Freedom Fighters are still technically owned by Sega. They just don't do anything with them. And I would like to see them come back because Sonic games have been so lackluster in stories. I don't think adding them would fix the problem, but having Ian Flynn as a writer is definitely a step in the right direction. Kind of hyped for Sonic Forces because it said Resistance and all that stuff. I wanted IDW to bring the Freedom Fighters back because I thought they were interesting characters. So I kind of dropped the whole thing. But after watching the first movie and having it be a pleasant surprise, and the second movie being an absolute masterpiece of a video game movie, Sonic can be good. The only thing that has to happen now is Sonic Frontiers has to be gas, even though it looks like a Breath of the Wild ripoff. If Ian Flynn is writing it, I will take that. If it has a good story that's not just Baldy McNosehair humor, I will take that. I have no idea what Sonic Prime is going to be about, other than the fact that it's multi-dimensional. Maybe we'll get some reference. They got Pantera in the movie. Let's go! Fans are very resilient. The Team Season 3 is a project that has been going on for a while, and they're just now amping up to start releasing stuff, which is going to give Sonic the Hedgehog, the Sad AM series, a third season because it ended on a cliffhanger as well. The Sonic Archie Online series, which if you are a fan of Archie Sonic and you haven't heard of this, please go read this. They have a whole reading list, which is what I've been using to make this crappy video with no script to kind of jog my memory of what the old Sonic storyline was like. But they've actually taken the liberty of getting the original Mecha Sally story arc and cutting out all the worlds collide business and getting the series back to its original type. They've written it all themselves, which that is incredible for a small team. Join their Discord, support them in any way you can because this is a really good project. And it's not finished yet. We're still waiting for 252, 253, and 254. But 250 was a nice ending to the French. 250 is a nice way to end that conflict. And then we're just going to have to deal with Nagas, which that's coming up. It's going to take a while. Impatient as hell, but please release it soon. I cannot.
I can't hardly wait. I can't wait.
Oh my god, I love this series so much. It's so good. It's just the best ever. Subscribe if you like crappy content. That is all.
I can't wait. Hardly wait.
listen to yourself, turn world, turn its own needs. Tell me serve your own needs, speed it up and not speed, but no strength. The ladder starts to clatter with the fear right down high. Wire in a fire, representing 7 games in a government for hire in a combat site. Less of what's coming in a hurry with the furies breathing down your neck. Team reporters about the Trump to the crop. Look at that low plane, fine. Then, overflow, population coming due. Little do, save yourself, world serve its own needs. Listen to your heart bleeds. Everyone the rapture and the reverend and the right. Right, you, patriotic, stand by, bright light, feel free sight. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. I feel fine. 6 o'clock TV hour, don't become foreign tower, slash burn, return, listen to yourself, turn, lock them in uniform, book burning, blood letting, every motive escalate, a lot of motives incinerate, a lot of killing, a lot of motives, step down, watch your heel, crush, this means no fear, cavalier, renegade, serial killer, turn them in alive, offer me solutions, offer me alternatives, and I decline. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. And I feel fine. I feel Bernstein, Lanoy, Brezhnev, Lenny Bruce, Lester Bangs, birthday party, cheesecake, jelly bean, you symbiotic, patriotic, slam, butt neck, right? Right. It's the time of the world as we know it. It's the time of the world as we know it. It's the time of the world as we know it. I feel fine. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. And I feel fine.